Hello. Okay. Hi. Here we go. Right. First of all, I feel a complete fraud because I haven't lived a life like this. I've been, I think I've been self-employed since I was 22, and I've done loads of different things. So I can tell you my story if you like. It's a story of somebody who started at, 15, waiting tables in a restaurant because I needed a Saturday job. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. In those days, it was different. Okay, this restaurant that I went into was one of the first fashionable restaurants that had opened in the town that I grew up in, and it was just really good fun. So I sort of thought, oh, I quite like this. Anyway, fast forward, went to university, and I was still waiting tables because I needed the money again. So I thought, then I gravitated towards this. There were so many different people there. It was quirky in those days. And while I was at university, I thought, wait a minute, quite like this. So I did. I followed a passion. And I met somebody who also had a passion. And between us, we opened up 4 restaurants in London in the 80s and 90s. And they went swimmingly well. Really, really good. And then I got bored. I didn't like it anymore. And there's a reason for this, which is I think it's important for you girls to know, because in those days I found it really, really difficult to go up the ladder. Women in those days, bank managers wouldn't speak to me. I tried, believe me, I knocked on doors. They wouldn't speak to me. And restaurants in London at those days, they were a closed shop. There were too many men around. That's changed dramatically now. There are women all over the industry, and it's equal. But I didn't make it, so I thought, right, can't do this. So I took myself off. And then I went into something else that I quite liked, which was fitness. And I did that for a few years, and then always made a living out of these things. So during that, I opened up a small gym, and I had a little bit of a fitness business going, again, self-employed. And then I did some sports massage, so I'm still going, and nothing stops me. Where do I want to go next? And then I started having children, and I was too tired. I couldn't get up, I couldn't go. I was too tired. I couldn't do all that running around or any of that. So the main theme of my life has been a passion for people. I really like people. I work with them, I really like them. So I thought, I quite fancy this. I'll go off and do something with my head rather than my body, because I can sit down at night and I can read. And I trained at the Tavistock Institution in London, and I came out of there as a psychotherapist for couples. And I really liked this. And then I thought, what am I going to do with it? And a colleague and I, it's a very solitary business unless you get it right. So a colleague and I decided that we'd set up a collaboration of therapists, which was very unique in those days again. And we did. We went to Canary Wharf, we rented an office, put our name out there, and we're still there. We still work there as coaches, therapists. We still collaborate with lots of local people in the area, local doctors, sports physios. We collaborate with all of those. And my latest thing now is I've just collaborated here in Brighton on another project, which is a relationship clinic. And we hope to become a resource because we've got some serious heavyweights who have been around for a very long time and know a lot about relationships. We've just set that up this year, so hopefully you'll hear about us later on in the year.
That's amazing. It's inspiring to see how many different areas you went into and you followed your passion, and then identified where it really was, as you say, with people. So what would you say, why would you encourage other women to go into the sort of industries you have?
Well, my industry is ever expanding. It's fascinating now, and society is changing so rapidly, and there's so many new areas opening up. It's just so interesting. It's why I do it. Every day I learn something different. Every day somebody new comes in, or I'm thinking about something different, or I need to go off and research. So there's loads and loads of scope in it's a changing world. And it's just really interesting. And I think that's one of the messages is you've got to be interested. You have to have curiosity. It doesn't matter what it's in. Just be curious and then be passionate when you find something. And just go for it. Doesn't matter. As long as you can pay your rent and you can struggle through, just go for it. But you've got to stay interested. I think that's the main thing.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Karen. It's lovely to hear from you.